Hey, Pat McCardle back for another episode of Shop Talk, where today we're diving deep on all the comfort features of the new Sportsman Touring. Stay tuned for more. All right, so as we think about comfort on the next-gen touring models for Sportsman, we really got to start out talking about the seats. So follow me around here. So in previous episode, we talked all about this brand new seat and how easy it is to pop on and off. But we'll get that out of the way for just a second because we really want to start our attention with the main seat here. And you can see this thing is huge. It extends all the way back. So whether you're driving and sitting on the front or you want to scoot back and you don't have a passenger with you, you get the full length of seat now on this model if you're riding in that one-up configuration. Now the nice thing is it's a little more, we've extended the amount of foam on here. It's a little bit wider, way longer. Overall, this seat just for one-up riding is more comfortable than the previous model. Now the cool thing is with this rear seat, we'll drop that back on quick. The nice part is that you can see this foam actually doesn't have like solid frames in it. So you actually get the thickness of both the passenger seat and the main seat when you're sitting in the back. Now other cool features that you see, it's highly bolstered, and I'll jump up on here in a second and show you this, but it really hugs you on the sides. It's got a nice little angle lip on the front so that when you're going down a hill, you kind of brace into the seat. The handholds have a lot of spots to grip, and if you pan your camera down, the other thing you see is that there's an added row here for biting your shoe in to really be able to brace as a passenger. So I'll kind of jump up and you'll be able to see what that looks like. So I can get the ball of my foot down in that area and I don't have to just brace on my heel. I've got a couple different options for where my feet can go. Now the nice thing is these handles are attached to the seat, right? So when that seat back gets out of the way, the whole thing, it becomes that flat seat. So you got a nice area if you're using this one-up. And I've got a lot of spots that I can move my hands around on these handholds as a passenger, so I don't get tired of just being in one spot all day. Now the other cool thing is that there's actually accessories available for these seats so that you can add, you can basically replace this seat and the main one to be able to get hand warmers and seat warmers for both the driver and passenger through the accessory catalog. Speaking of accessories, one other cool thing we got to show you over on the wall here, we've got a couple rear seats pulled out. And this is actually showing you the back of a stock seat. So there is actually an accessory bag that you can drape over the back here to be able to attach and carry some things around with you. But the other nice thing with these exposed tubes on the sides, you can take a simple strap or even a belt to be able to wrap around and hold your bag right on the back. So you got a convenient spot to be able to carry that stuff around. Makes it really easy to be able to bring that with you as you're going down the trail. All right, so we talked, a lot about the seats. The other thing that maybe is hard to see is it's got a new material on these seats. So it's not like a slippery vinyl. You can see there's maybe a little bit of texture if you can pick that up in the camera, but it gives you a little bit of grip against your pants. So it helps hold you in place better. Overall, the comfort on this rear seat, phenomenal. Like I can't say enough about it. All right, so the next thing we got to talk when we're talking about comfort is all about chassis strength and stiffness. On the previous gen model, we actually had a 1-inch square tube for the main support structure in the chassis. That's actually been upgraded to 1 inch by 1.5 inches. So if you kind of look down these, you can see just how much bigger it is. And that bigger tube actually gives us added strength and stiffness. So it makes it so the suspension can really do its job better. Speaking of suspensions, we've got 2 different front end styles that we actually use on these next gen touring models. And I'll ditch those and see if you can come down and follow me here. But on the 3 trims, the standard, the EPS, and the premium, they all get this McPherson strut setup. So you can see you got a strut that goes from the wheel end up to the top and then one lower straight control arm here. Now when we flip over to the Ultimate, which is right next to us, hopefully we can get it going, you'll see we actually have an arched lower A-arm, so that actually gives us a wider path of travel, so you get more ground clearance across the center of the machine. And we've got an upper A-arm with a standard shock on this one. So what this actually gives us is a bit more suspension travel. We get a little over 1/2 inch more on the Ultimate trim than we do the other 3. It also gives you a lighter steering feel and better control through the front end. So the Ultimate actually gets the upgraded front end suspension. And as part of that, we actually have some new bushings kind of across the lineup. So for all the suspension pivots, we've actually got some parts shown on the table that will slide over here to kind of show you guys what's going on. So on my left side, you're right over here, this is what was on the last generation of the touring models. All right, so you got a steel pivot tube that the bolt goes through. You've got plastic bushings on either side, and that's actually what this pivot tube rotates on. So pretty simple setup here, kind of looks like this when it's assembled, and this tube would be right here. So this was kind of our standard pivot tube. Now this works pretty good, but it doesn't always keep all the dirt and debris out, especially if you're going through like a lot of mud or water, that type of thing. You got to press the grease in to be able to purge that dirt and debris out. Now the awesome thing on this new setup is that we've actually got these O-rings on either side to seal the bushings up. You can also see that we've gone to a much larger diameter pivot tube. I don't know if you can see the comparison here. And you'll notice that this new one doesn't have a hole in it, so you don't have a grease zerk that you actually have to worry about on this new setup. So if you look, there's still a tube the bolt goes through, but then you've got these two new material bushings that are actually impregnated with some lubricant. So they actually will self-lubricate over time. And then these two guys actually have O-rings to seal everything up. So what you get as a rider is much better longevity and a far greater service interval before you have to worry about taking these apart to swap out the bushings. It also keeps the front end tighter, reduces the amount of squeaks and rattles, so your machine's going to sound like a brand new machine for much longer in its life as well. So overall, you know, new bushings are phenomenal when it comes to sealing, and actually makes your life easier because you have less maintenance to do as well. All right, last but not least, when you think about comfort and rider security and just having confidence overall on the trail, this Ultimate trim is all about this Ride Command technology and the 7S display. So there's some really cool things that you get. You know, starting off, I'm going to drop down from the top, and you can see this ride mode. So I can go to work, standard, or performance. And that's really going to adjust when I hit the thumb throttle, how fast the engine responds to my inputs. The other one that you see here is this EPS Assist Level. So, you know, if you want a little more feel of the trail, you can go to low. I tend to like really high assist, so I get less shoulder fatigue throughout the day. But you can actually dial in that assist mode to whatever you like. The other neat things on here that aren't maybe standard from what you've seen on some of the other videos we've done are the game camera, which you have on a Ranger as well. But you can pull the card out of your game camera, get it into a USB adapter, plug it in here, and you can pop up pictures from that. And the other one that we showed in a previous episode is all about plow mode. So, you know, if you tap that functionality, it'll actually allow you to lift and lower your plow automatically by spooling the winch in and out. With that auto stop feature, you don't have to worry about it going too far. And when you shift, you know, between reverse, it'll lift it up for you. When you go back to low gear, it'll drop it down so you're ready for the next pass. So fantastic in that regard. The other features that exist, you know, that are kind of standard across Ride Command are the trail, you know, planning that you can do, the route mapping online or on your phone, and then load it into your display. We've also got group ride technology, so if you want to connect to other ATVs or other Polaris side-by-sides, you can set up that group ride and see where everybody is on your map. And we've got over 1 million miles of trail, so you know, if you're taking this off the property and going on some trails, it's a great way to know where you are and find your way back home. One other, you know, trick feature that we have on ATVs that a lot of people don't realize are this yellow button on the left-hand control that says Speedo/reverse override. You can actually program what you want that button to do. So right now I've got a short press so that it takes me straight to maps. And if I hold that button down, it'll actually drop a waypoint right where I am. So I never have to take my hands off the bars if I want to be able to see where I am, see where I'm going, or drop a waypoint if I come across something cool. So overall, when you think about this machine, right, we've got the best driver's seat around, you know, flipping back. We've got the most comfortable passenger seat that we've ever had. You know, it kind of gets that dual layer padding along with some of the other goodness locking me in place. You know, we strengthened up the chassis like we talked about, new suspension. We got those sealed bushings, and the icing on the cake is this Ride Command technology. So when you think about it, the next gen Touring, especially on this Ultimate trim, is a phenomenal ATV. I'd encourage you to go check one out. That's it for this episode of Shop Talk. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you want to see next time.